That most wonderful strip of sand on the Gold Coast. Of course, where thousands and thousands upon tourists come here each year just to enjoy the great waves, the great scenery, and of course everything that goes with being on the Gold Coast. Well, our own Alan Jones has been a busy boy this weekend. Apart from driving a microphone for us, he's also been driving a BMW in the Sports and GT class. And right now, their 10-lap final is about to get underway. So keep an eye on the Jones boy in car number 20 as we join Darrell Eastlake in the commentary box.
Underway now to rolling start, the GT and sports race. Crick and the Honda yesterday was the fastest man. I noticed the Alpha GTV out in front at the moment, and the two little Group A cars of Tony Longhurst and Alan Jones right in there. But look at the mix up here as they come down through the chicane. There is tyre dust, there is smoke, there is oil, there is everything, but they're all through. And look at the little BMWs. They're off the planet this morning, Peter Brock.
Well, there's Jonesy back in fifth, and look at Tony Longhurst passing Crick. I mean, how cheeky can you get? And Jones right behind him.
Brian Smith in the Alpha GTV. He's from Western Australia, filled second place out of memory yesterday. Lots of pressure on the little BMW now as Crick and the Honda winds it up. Now he comes up on the inside. This is blasting up the beachfront. There's the Gold Coast sand of the ocean there for you. Look at Crick. He was the fastest car yesterday, and he dovetails in behind Smith.
And looking at Tony Longhurst, he's using every bit of road that's possible to use that BMW. It's the widest BMW we've seen. He's made it to a 7 Series, I think, and he held on to third. It's a temporary situation, I think, though, folks, because he's going to just get this horsepower blasting by him pretty soon.
Tony Longhurst has grown fangs here. He's been fantastic over the last 2 days.
Yes, and right behind him there, of course, is his partner in crime, Alan Jones, who, speaking with him earlier this morning, is pretty determined to get out there and go for it.
AJ's fired up, but no more fired up than Longhurst. Look at the little Bimmer moving around. He's slipping and sliding around this Gold Coast circuit. These cars, about 500 or 600 horsepower. We're talking lightweight fiberglass and Kevlar bodies. They're stripped and they're big Chevy engines, and they're a delight to drive. You've done that.
I have, and they are an absolute ball to drive. They're quite balanced to drive with that the aerodynamic hang-ons that they have got. Very good balance, huge brakes, big tyres. This is now the fast part of the track. This is where you'll find Brian Smith under severe pressure from the little Honda Prelude.
And look at Crick now. Crick brings the Honda Prelude. Chevy right up in behind Smith. Ducks in behind the chicane. Oh, this is really good stuff round the streets of the Gold Coast here. Smith doing a good job. He's obviously got the car a little better sorted out than yesterday. Crick comes in behind him now. This is a real battle. Tony Longhurst has had to take second fiddle now, back in third place. He hasn't got the horsepower to run with these fellas. He's driving a Group A car. These are sports sedans, GT cars. Crick, though, loses a bit out there, probably drops back a bit. This is a short little straight now that'll link up with the beachfront. Oh, great stuff.
But I reckon Crick's getting ready to attack him. I don't think he's too concerned back there to really pressure him. I might be wrong, but it looked to me that he can catch him anytime he wants.
Tony Longhurst is into the wall. Well, I guess that doesn't surprise me, the way he was throwing it around. He's into the wall. Bad luck for Tony Longhurst. He was off the planet. But it's Crick, it's Smith. Smith out in front from Western Australia, and Crick, of course, from Tasmania. So a battle going on, an interstate battle here on the streets of the Gold Coast. We talk about a street fight, you've got one. There's Tony's car. Oh, it was a bit of a bang too.
Not too good, and that I can tell you is a brand new car. It's only been on the circuit for only a very short time. Frank Gardner, I imagine, back in the pits, he'll be won't be too thrilled about that. First chicane, of course, brought Tony undone. I guess we'll see them pretty soon as we reach that part of the track again.
Still Smith and the Alpha GTV Chevy. He's holding out the Honda Prelude of Crick, who won here yesterday in fine style. But the Alpha, they've done their homework overnight. Oh, now Crick comes up and just gets right in behind him now. He's going to make his challenge pretty shortly. Through this twisty section now. Crick's car yesterday was superb through here. Now he'll come up and run side by side as they run down this fast straight. Crick, has he got the legs on the Alpha? I think he has. Yes, sir. Oh, Crick and the Honda, a beautiful move.
Yeah, I reckon Crick was waiting for that. He came out of that corner into the straight, lined him up, got a draft, and pulled out and passed, and it's quite decisively in front now. We'll see if Smith can actually challenge again, but my feeling is Crick's got the car speed.
Oh, Oh, well, the Alpha's done a great job with Smith. I mean, he really held him out there. And yesterday, Crick did exactly this, got in front and disappeared, said, see you later. And this car has been handling this circuit in superb fashion. Bad luck for Tony Longhurst in the Group A car. What a great drive up until he lost it into the wall. He was every which way around this circuit.
Well, I mean, that little car with 340-odd brake horsepower, racing at 600 horsepower, an exceptional job. But then again, Tony's an exceptional driver. You see here, Crick in this Honda Prelude. Can you believe this car? It's got every option you can actually, I suppose, point a stick at it. It's got a sunroof, it's got aerodynamic bits, it's got 600 horsepower. It's doing a fantastic job. And that old car behind it, not that old, of course, but the Alfa Romeo GTV is the ex-Tony Emerson car, and it's had a long and successful career in motor racing, and it's still competitive.
Well, A.J. Jones just going through there, and Jonesy, we had him fired up this morning, but I think he's gone off the boil a little bit.
Well, he's up to 7th spot. Now, we did predict for him earlier on. We wanted him to get up to 6th, 7th, although he's had to get his team boss out of the way to get that little spot up the road, but he is fired up.
Jeff Barnes, by the way, from Queensland. So we got a Tasmanian, a West Australian, and a Queensland. He's in a Chevrolet Monza. He's back in 3rd place.
That was Paul Morris and the other BMW there, parked on the side of the road, so that's 2 BMWs down, 1 to go.
The big Jaguar, love this car. This car is an old car, it's been around a long time. Looking at it now, the red and white Jaguar there, what a fantastic machine this has been on Australian racetracks. It's had a number of owners, but it's always been competitive.
Well, looking at the speed that the cars have been doing in yesterday's preliminary race, Gary Scott is a very, very experienced driver, was one of the fastest cars on the track, and I'd expect him to improve his position. At the moment he's up to 4th and probably improving. That's a very fast car, that Jag, and an interesting one too, Daryl.
Still Greg Crick out in front of the Honda, leading from Brian Smith from Western Australia. Jeff Barnes is in 3rd place. We'll leave you on the Gold Coast for just a moment. Stay with us, Australia. Welcome back to the streets of the Gold Coast. This is the Daikio Indy Grand Prix meeting, and looking at the sports and GT cars. Out front, Greg Crick from Tasmania. He's in a Honda Prelude with a big Chevy engine in it. Brian Smith from Western Australia in the Alfa GTV is in 2nd place. Jeff Barnes from Queensland in a Chevy Monza GT running 3rd. Crick out in front of the white car, the red Alfa GTV, right in behind him there, not losing too much. He seems to gain a bit on the top part of the circuit.
Interesting thing about this type of racing is that these cars have been around for some time, not Crick's car. Crick's car is a relatively new car. It's state-of-the-art. It's a beautifully built little thing. But it just shows you that... That's a motor.
Problem for Crick. He's done it in. Oh, well, what bad luck. He runs it up off the track. Very wise. He doesn't want to lay any oil down there for the rest of the competitors. Yep. So Greg Crick from Tasmania is out.
I would say that was a Conrod letting go, and handed the race to Brian Smith in a car which is now probably 10 years old, this particular car, and is running extremely well. Of course, it's been updated as years go by, but it's a very, very... Here we go again. Here's Crick coming along. You can see the engine starting to blow there. You can see, well, what appears to be some sort of oil smoke coming out the right-hand front corner of the car. You can see, yes, you can see the oil line on the road. He's just pulled straight off the track, very wise, instead of leaving a very, very dangerous, slippery piece of bitumen for everyone else to fall on. Brian Smith running away with it. But now, of course, we're finding the gap has closed up tremendously. Jeff Barnes' car, which is it's got quite a history, this motor car, that's challenging now. It was built in 1980, reinforcing what I was just saying about the age of some of these cars, by John Briggs. Very, very fast Chevy Monza.
Okay, and the Chevy Monza of Barnes starting to make some inroads too on the Alfa. He might have the legs on him now. He's had to come a long way back from 3rd to challenge for 2nd place. Of course, once Greg Crick went out, that gave them the opening. That oil will be on the circuit, but I think they'll know where it is, and they'll be aware of that. There's Alan Jones, is it, in the little bimmer? That's AJ. AJ still going in the Group AK. Come on, AJ, let's get going. He's in 7th place, but he is in a Group A car, so he's doing it pretty tough against the massive horsepower and lightweight bodies of these sports GTs. But Alan, he'll wring its neck.
He will, and I'll tell you what, he's using every inch of this circuit. And he was saying before, he said, I wasn't all that neat through some of these chicanes yesterday. I was just bouncing it off and leaping through, what have you. But very fast driver. How's he going here? Nice, yeah. Yes, yes. Oh, well, it's possibly a little bit too much curb there. We're sort of wondering about the amount of suspension loading it's got there. Yellow flag out. And that'll be for Crick's car, which is parked on the side of the road, I guess.
AJ's really enjoyed this, you know. He loves the Gold Coast. He loves to get out and have a race here, and he knows that he was doing almost mission impossible to take a Group A car and be competitive with the Sports GT cars. But he will wring its neck. He'll give the fans a show, and he and Tony Longhurst have just been sensational.
Yes, I certainly wouldn't have minded having the big Commodore up here this weekend. I think it would have gone extremely well. Is our race leader, lap 6, in front and looking pretty good, but now under severe pressure from the Supra. And this particular car is Kerry Bailey's car, and it was built by Kerry Bailey in 1987, and really is a copy of the Bob J. Monza, I suppose, to a large extent. Used the big Chevy V8 engine, a car with the Chevy Monza, which I drove at some time, so it even has that similar look about it. Fast motor car.
I was going to say that's very similar to the car that you used to run. It almost looks identical.
Yes, I've often looked at that and almost mistakenly said it's a Chevy Monza. It's the Bob Jane Chevy Monza I used to race, but you look at it closely, you can see that Toyota grille sitting there. Well, it's heavily modified, of course.
So really it's a Toyota Supra, and it's got the Chevy engine, so they take on a different look from the original manufacturer's body shape. There we go. Brian Smith, Kerry Bailey, Bob Jolly in third, Kane Scott and Gary Scott.
Those Scotts are not related, although there's plenty of Scotts in racing in Australia. Kane Scott is a New Zealand lad, very young guy, driving a Ford Merkur, which has been modified for racing in this class, and a very, very good young driver.
And look at the streets of the Gold Coast, looking high above here and looking down, a fantastic sight. There's no better looking racetrack in the world than this. You can see the racing line there where the rubber's been laid down since Thursday when the cars got out on the track. But look at this, the waterways, the high-rise buildings, the beaches, just absolutely beautiful. But it also gives you a good look of how demanding this top end of the circuit is.
It's very, very tight. And all of the drivers will tell you that the hard thing around here is to get a very fast line out of that corner onto the main straight.
That's the pit area you see now. That orange and white line was going into the pits past our commentary position, down the end of the main straight, still those waterways and lakes. Beautiful, beautiful circuit. Oh, Jonesy's got in. AJ went in. Oh, and pretty hard too, AJ. Well, Frank's not going to be happy. Tell them into the wall.
And the third car is parked here. I'd say that car hit very hard and has got some sort of heavy-duty damage. Meanwhile, up front, we've got a tremendous duel going on here.
Well, AJ, I think, did not know that car was there because he's come around. Watch this. AJ doesn't know that car was there because he's come around. There's his line. He's going to brush the wall. You can see he's got nowhere to go. Bang. Well, Alan Jones out.
I'd say he's understeered into the wall, and that car in front is that's the Scott car. That's the car that I was just talking about from New Zealand. So that car's out. So, well, now it's survival of the fittest really out here. But we've got two guys out front, and hammer and tongs.
Okay, so plenty of action provided by the GT and Sports Boys this morning, no doubt about that. And the walls of this very demanding circuit claims to life. But Jones has moved that car around to the front, so it must be drivable.
Yes, yes, he has moved, and I did see his familiar yellow overalls there walking along the fence. He's probably looking up the race driver's book of excuses. He's probably flipped it onto page 433/B, saying the steering failed, or the flat tyre. No, it might be a flat tyre today. Sounds like a good one for Jonesy, but difficult stuff around this track.
We'll take a break from the Gold Coast. Be right back. Welcome back to the Gold Coast. This is a battle for first and second. Bailey is making a big charge on Smith.
Smith's taking the protective line into the chicane there, using all of the road, and you can see Bailey's really giving it heat. He's got to be confronted with another chicane. Very difficult pass here, Carol.
So Bailey now has got a little bit of a straight to work on, and there's a heavy braking area at the end of this where they'll hook back onto the beachfront. That's what he'll try and do, position himself on the inside to try and get the corner, but I don't know if he's going to do it. This traffic will start to come into play now. The traffic will come into play, and as As he lines him up, he can't do it, but he may just get the better run out of here to get him on this big long straight that runs up the beachfront. Look at the cars in front of them, Peter. It'll be a brave man through the traffic here. Now he starts to get up and get the legs running on the Supra. Look at that, the speed from behind. He's now gone back on the inside. There's a Porsche there, not too many places he can even get lined up.
And Smith, of course, very much used to this sort of racing and is applying all that experience. You see him weaving across the road, disadvantaging Bailey. He's going into I suppose, taking a very tight entry into all these corners, knows he's got to come. If he doesn't make a mistake, I think he can hang on, but boy, it's a close race.
Oh, gee, this has been a good race, no doubt about that. Now Smith gets a little buffer, and that's about as far as he's had in the last lap or so. More traffic coming up, this time in the form of a Sierra. That's a Group A car, of course. He gets past there pretty well. Both cars get through. Now we have a look at the lines, the tightness of the traffic. Where's he going to line him up, Peter? Come on, where would you pass here where you had the chance?
Well,
going onto the main straight, maybe?
I think what I'd do, I'd get a very, very clean exit on this particular corner and see if I could have a go down the main straight. But no, he's too far back. He's missed that run onto the straight. All he can do is consolidate and close under brakes. But we're getting towards the last few laps of this race. He better make his move pretty quickly.
Smith certainly got the legs down this part of the circuit. He's got 4 or 5 legs on him every time they come down here. Now look at this though. The Supra really closes up on the brakes as they come into the chicane. 9 out of 10, so they're running out of time. Again, he'll come under brakes hard here as they turn left through this chicane. Now the hard left will come up under brakes.
It's very interesting that the Supra seems to have the handling on the tighter parts of the circuit, although I get the feeling that if you can really just sit back a fraction and just get a clear run at some of these corners, he's going to come out nice and neatly and really put some pressure on Smith. But to do that, you've got to be prepared to not attack for a couple of corners and just concentrate on getting car speed up again.
So it's Brian Smith from Western Australia with a Shell Company Alpha GTV, Kerry Bailey in the Supra in second place, then Bob Jolly, then Gary Scott, then Kevin Waldock, and that's a Group A car, so that's a pretty big effort. Now the Porsche in the way, so the two boys here running 1 and 2. Now look at this traffic they've got to negotiate.
And these little Porsches, of course, are running, well, much less highly modified motor cars than these outright contenders. And a lot of these guys aren't as experienced, so you'll find a lot of fun and games. There's Rusty French, who's just launched Kevin Waldock, who was in 5th place, and I would suggest that he's now back to, well, X amount.
Well, he's bogged. He won't get out of there. He's really bogged. You can see him trying to drive out, and he's in the kitty litter and in there in a big way. But back we come for Bailey and Smith. They've been turning it on. Here's a replay now.
And there's Rusty French in the black Porsche, last year's race winner here. Just nudging him. You see the damage on the right-hand front corner of Rusty's car. Waldock will not be very thrilled about that, but them's the breaks at this type of racing. These chicanes, braking duels, that's what happens.
Brian Sala, a very young boy. He's only, I think, 18 or 19 out of memory. He's driven lots of cars. This is the last lap. So Sala here on the Gold Coast, he's only a boy getting experience. Down they come the last lap. Smith has done a magnificent job in the Alpha GTV to hold out Kerry Bailey. So it's the Alpha and the Supra. Toyota versus... or Japan versus Europe here with Chevy engines.
Yeah,
it's quite a mixture.
Yeah, these motor cars, they're built for I suppose, convenience. And you put those big Chevys in anything they go, there's no doubt about that. And they do make wonderful noises. The fans love them.
They sound fantastic around here, but Kerry Bailey, I don't know if he's got the legs to do it because Smith has had him covered right round the circuit. He knows he's on the last lap. Oh, there's another one in the way there. There's cars scattered all around this track down. They're nudging walls, they're in the kitty litter, they're everywhere. But at the moment, Smith definitely got the legs on the straight pits. Look at that, he opens up a few lengths there. More traffic coming into play, though, but I think he'll handle it okay.
Yeah, and one of the things that is happening there, it's a bit difficult to tell from the camera position, I suppose, is that there's a lot of yellow flags out due to those cars that are parked on the side of the road. And I reckon that Bailey's being thwarted by that a little. This is an interesting situation coming up here.
Well, there we go. You're looking down at the battle for first and second. The two red cars, Smith and the Alpha GTV. We've got Bailey in the Supra. Bailey there that puts his nose up for a look under brakes as they can look at the traffic in front of them. It's like a taxi rank here. Pitt Street in the city. They're all busy trying to get through. Now they take the inside line. One gets through, two gets through. So they're still side by side. This is the last lap. Only a series of corners. They'll come onto the main straight for the blast to the line. Smith in control at the moment.
But getting balked. You can see that white car in front there. And Smith would be very concerned about getting a good run onto the straight. And if Bailey can do it, he's going to make this a great run to the flag. I'll tell you, this is looking good.
So Bailey now slipstreams in behind Smith now. Tries to line him up. He goes, oh, how close was that? Smith got it by about half a length. Oh, Bailey with a big lunge at the end. But Smith did it from Western Australia. He beat the Queenslander with a, well, from Tasmania, actually. Perry Bailey from Tasmania in the second place, but by gee, gave it a good run.
And a fantastic finish, a great race.
Well, we'll have a look at the finish again because that was a marvellous effort from Kerry Bailey. He had to try and get through the traffic. He lined him up. Watch this. Now Smith's in front in the Alpha. Watch Bailey in car 28. He can see the line coming up. He has the lunge now. He finally had a chance to get side by side, but Smith's horsepower held out. I'll tell you what, he had the arm out early and just made it. Well, a great effort and a really, really entertaining race. Bad luck for Greg Crick and the Honda. He led most of the way through, went into the wall, but that was an extremely good race. Congratulations to all of those competitors. Brian Smith in the Alpha first place, Kerry Bailey in the Supra, Bob Jolly in the Commodore, Glenn Winchip in the Chevy Monza, and Rusty French in the Porsche. They're the top 5 for you.
Lots of drama and a real good race, but there's plenty more good racing to come here at the Indycar Grand Prix for 1992. Back with more right after the break.